What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 most common things that hold people back from success at a subconscious level. Now, these are in no particular order. These are just the 5 most common that I've seen after working with thousands and thousands of highly successful business owners and entrepreneurs. Number 1 is the fear of what others might think of you. Now, I have a very interesting story that you're going to love. About 3 years ago, when I started my YouTube channel and I had started creating content, but for some reason, I wasn't posting it to my Facebook. Now, after talking to my subconscious mind, I realized that I wasn't posting it to my Facebook because my dad was on Facebook. You know, he's not on YouTube, he's not on Instagram, but for some reason, I had this mental block around letting my dad see my content. So anytime I feel resistance like this, any frustration, any fear, any insecurity, I always want to go within my subconscious mind to figure out, why is that happening, right? So I do this process that we take our clients through. And essentially what I discovered is that when I was 2 years old, my dad was at his house with all of his buddies. I got out of the bathtub and I ran out into the living room butt naked, and my dad was completely embarrassed, right? And he's like, what the hell, get back in the room, go put your clothes on. Now, what's interesting is these are just memories that are coming up from my subconscious mind. Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of times when people get memories from their subconscious, they start to doubt it, right? Like, did that really happen? I don't really know if that took place. Well, I verified with my father, and yes, not only did that happen that one time, it happened many times. Now, here's the thing. We can laugh about it now, but imagine when you're 2 years old, you get scolded for doing something by your parent or whoever. Well, that makes an impact on your subconscious mind. And so from that day, I always became afraid to do certain things to my dad because I didn't want to embarrass him or embarrass myself. And so as a 32-year-old or however old I was at the time, adult, I was afraid to put my content out there because I was afraid that I was going to embarrass my father. Now, once I released that block and all the other things that I was holding on to subconsciously, I do not care what content he sees. It does not matter. What's interesting as well is literally right after I released that, I posted my YouTube video to Facebook. So go into your subconscious mind and figure out, hey, what is holding me back from doing this? Why am I afraid of what my dad thinks, my mom thinks, my friends, my family? And once you remove those blocks, it allows you to take action now and move forward. Number 2 is the fear of success. So many people are comfortable where they're at financially, but as they start to climb the ladder of success, they start to doubt themselves and they start to have fears. They're afraid that when they become successful, that people will attack them, right? The IRS will come after them, or people might try to steal from them, or whatever the case may be. People are also afraid, hey, when I have all of this success, I don't know if I can handle it. They're also afraid that, hey, when I get to this level, what if I lose everything? And so believe it or not, there's a lot of people that have these weird little subconscious fears that I used to have around being successful. Now, always remember, when we have these fears, it doesn't matter how hard we work or how hard we try to do something, we will not accelerate to that next level until we remove the fears from our mind. Number 3 is the fear of losing loved ones. You know, as we begin to elevate, a lot of times we have to let go of certain relationships, right? Maybe it's friendships. Now, this doesn't mean that you completely burn bridges or you never talk to people again. But as you elevate, you just don't vibrate on the same frequency as your old friends. And a lot of people are afraid to lose those relationships. Now, again, this isn't every single time, but it's very, very common. You know, let's say you're partying and you're, drinking and going out all the time and you want to be successful, but you have friends that are doing the same and you're trying to elevate, but you're afraid to lose those friends. Well, 95% of the time, if you're drinking and doing drugs and partying, it's going to be hard to be successful. Being successful is already a challenge in and of itself without all the hangovers and the alcohol and the drugs. So again, as you start to elevate, people become afraid to lose loved ones. Now, another thing that happens is people become afraid that as they start to have more success, their friends and family will be jealous of them or they'll envy them, right? And they won't want to have them around because oh, look at so-and-so, he's got all this success and I don't have nothing. And sometimes your success will make people feel insecure. So just check in with yourself to say, hey, am I afraid to lose these people, and release that at a subconscious level. Number 4 is probably the most common, and that's the fear of failure, right? Hey, what if I do this thing and it doesn't work? Well, hey, one thing is for sure. If you don't do the thing, you're guaranteeing that you fail. Here's another perspective to look at. Failure is actually not the right word, right? A lot of people say fail forward. It's okay to fail. Well, here's the thing. There's only actually 3 ways that you can technically fail. Number one, if there's a time limit, right? If you're playing a sport or you're doing some type of exercise or something in your business and hey, I have to have this done by this time. Well, if you don't have it done by that time, then you lose, right? You fail. Number two, if there's a score limit, right? First 1 to 21, like we used to play back in the day when we played basketball. So if there's a score limit, hey, the first person in my business or I'm running a sales, competition, first one to this level wins, and you don't, then you fail. And the third way that you can fail is if you quit. So let's say, for example, you and I are playing a basketball game and I'm up by 100 points, right? And I'm just disintegrating you. Well, guess what? If I quit before you do, then guess who won? You did. Even though I was far ahead, because I quit first, I failed. So as long as you don't quit, there's no time limit and there's no score limit, it's actually impossible to fail. What will happen for sure is you will make mistakes. We will make mistakes and then we learn from those mistakes and we adjust them. But making a mistake is not the same thing as failing. So just make sure you don't quit and it's impossible to fail. As long as you say, hey, I'm not giving up until this works, that business, that thing that you're doing will eventually work. And the number 5 most common success blocks is conflicts. Conflicts are when we're split in 2 parts, right? Part of me wants to do this and part of me wants to do that. I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that. And when we're in a conflict, it paralyzes us, right? And essentially what happens is we're at the beginning of a fork in the road and we're not making a decision on whether or not we want to go left or whether or not we want to go right. So we must make a decision and go with the decision until we decide to change the decision. The good news is with conflicts is if you make a decision and it ends up being the wrong one, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you can undo it and just go down the other path. So if you're stuck in a conflict right now, like, hey, should I choose this thing or should I choose that thing? The last thing you want to do is just sit around and not do anything. So pick one, go with that. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Pivot and do something else. All right, guys, if you like this content, share it with a friend, follow my page. And if you want to get access to my free app, go down in the description and you'll see there's a place for you to download for Apple and Android, and you can get access to my free money magnetism sleep hypnosis. All right, guys, we'll see you guys in the next video.